listeners. Welcome to episode 2. We have finally made it, somehow. We've not been taken off the internet yet.
Why would we be taken off the internet?
Who knows? I always am your host, Matt, with my girlfriend, Aisha.
Hello.
Through this ever.
I just don't know what you expect me to say.
That's fine. So, let's get into the 2 robots we got today. So the first one is a BattleBots machine, and it goes by the name of Battle Royale with Cheese.
Is it a rotor?
Yeah, it's a bar spinner.
Wait, has it got a little one as well?
Yeah, it's got a mini bot that comes with it.
What does the mini one do?
The mini bot is called Shorter Pounder.
And what does it do?
Spits fire.
I don't understand.
It's basically just running interference and trying to melt stuff.
Okay. But no, I don't understand.
So the bar setup they've got, that's the bacon spinner, what they usually use. They also had one shaped like a pickle, but that one didn't get shown, unfortunately.
See, the pickle makes more sense to me because at least the pickle's like already round. You can thin it out a little bit so it's sharp, I guess. But bacon, like, no one's bacon is straight like that, like straight out. But okay, whatever. It doesn't make me mad. Like, I'm not mad about it.
Yeah, it wasn't a very effective weapon. They had issues with the motors and stuff, and it basically just barely spun. But it does look cool.
Yeah, other than that, it looks cool. They haven't tried putting eyes on it or anything, so it's fine. It does seem like a lot of it's exposed though.
Yeah, so that ties into it. So it was a very rushed build. So it was built for season 3 of Discovery. Was built in 5 weeks, all by hand. So the whole frame, all the stuff covering it, was all built by one woman, Jen Teckenroder, her name. Yeah, so she built
That's clearly a man.
Whatever.
So it wasn't built by herself.
Well,
she had help.
Mainly herself. Yeah, so she built the whole frame for it, did all the plating and stuff as well. And it's, to be honest, what they got, they built it in 5 weeks. So they sent they applied for BattleBots late January, early February, were confirmed February 10th, and it shipped out to BattleBots March 28th. So they built the whole thing, mini bottle, in 5 weeks, which is mad.
See, I don't have any frame of reference for how long it takes to build a robot, so saying that to me doesn't really...
I mean, some of them... Also, the team, because obviously season 5 has been delayed because of all the global stuff, and some teams are about halfway. Like it can take a good 6 months at least to get something decent. So to do all that in 5 weeks with the electrics as well, is really good going. There's most of the information I got from the team did an AMA on Reddit and stuff from their India post. There's a great option, what they call their gluten-free option, which is them in the test boxes without the frame and stuff.
Surely the frame gives protection though.
Yeah, that's to make sure the weapon works. So before,
but it didn't work though. I was like,
it worked, but they had issues. It was to do with the torque and the motors and stuff. It wasn't sending all the torque basically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So before Battle Royale, they applied with two ideas that were rejected. One called Safe Word.
I can see why it was rejected.
Yeah, and one called Muzzle Toff Cocktail.
Okay, I don't mind that one.
Which was, and I quote, a rotating Jewish star that spits flames.
And they thought, oh yeah, this is going to be fine.
Yeah, it's fine. It's not culturally insensitive at all.
No.
It runs in the same vein. There was a one from Classic BattleBots that applied for the reboot with a spinning bar, but was in the shape of a swastika. And the team apparently didn't see anything wrong with that.
Guessing they weren't Buddhists or Hindus.
Yeah, so because Battle Royale was built on such a short time frame, they'd initially had plans for the top button to be a self-righter. So if it got turned over or anything, it could just pop back up. Obviously, due to time constraints, they couldn't do that. So they've got the olive on a stick, which is basically what they used.
To self-right?
Well, to help it keep up. Is what it's sort of supposed to be. It's sort of also a more like a directional indicator, so you know what way you're going.
At that point, surely, just put wheels on the top as well.
I mean, you could do that.
So if it flips over.
Yeah, that's what a lot of them do, but obviously design constraints and everything.
Well, that's not a design constraint, that's time constraint.
Time constraint, yeah.
I'm starting not to like this Jen woman if she's just trying to be an edgelord.
No, she's really. I'll show you Jen.
I mean, Safewood and.
So that's Jen.
Mazeltov.
So that's all. That's the team there with all the costumes and stuff. Miles is the captain.
Wait, there's a team. You said it was one person.
Yeah, who built it? There's a whole team. There's drivers. There's radio technicians. There's everything like that. There's gonna be more of a team.
So it's a team effort.
Yeah, she did most of the building of the thing. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so Miles in the burger is the captain. Most of the costumes were handmade. The only two that weren't, I think, was the mustard and the burger one. So you've got Jen the Wonder Fries, you've got Charles the Milkshake, and Lindsay Lettuce.
The only problem I have with this one is the milkshake. Why is it split down the middle? That doesn't... Okay, continue.
So it was in season 3 of Discovery BattleBots. They only had 2 fights, which were undercard ones. Their first fight was against a machine called Tantrum, which is a
triangle.
It's a sort of it's ish triangle.
You know what? You know what I feel about robots with eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Other than Matilda.
Yeah.
My bae. I'm offended. But it's fine because reasons.
They're an improvement on their previous eyes, which were just like paper circle with small dots on. So at least they have actual style to them.
No, that's fine. At least they're not fucking carving them out like Nelly did.
Yeah, the Tantrum fight wasn't brilliant. It was basically lost in the first flip. So Tantrum comes in with they have a flipper on this one, which they added a spatula extension for it. the team when they found
flip the burger
to flip the burger, yeah. which I think is pretty.
I
cool,
think that's
actually,
in the spirit.
Exactly, yeah. The little time they had the teams having the pits to do repairs and fixes and stuff. The fact they went that extra mile to actually make something more fun for the fight. Yeah. But yeah, it was basically lost in the first fight. Tantrum comes out, flips Bowery out when it's on his side. They were nice. They did right them and get the fight going again, but it's just a very long drawn out fight. It didn't even end by knockout. It went to the judges, and it was possibly the longest 3 minutes I've ever seen. Yeah, they had issues with the weapons and everything. It was quite horrific.
Fair enough.
And then in their second fight, they fought a robot called Hypershock.
Wait, why do they have a second fight? They already lost.
Is the way? So the difference with the Discovery series and the ABC. In the ABC series, the reboot, it was just a straight knockout. With the Discovery ones, they do what they call a fight night formula. So the producers will sort of accumulate fights. Decent or like quality teams will get about 4 fights, and sort of undercards or less competent ones will get up to I think about 2 fights. And then at the end of the fight night, the pre-season, your results and stuff and how you last averages and stuff are taken into account for a seeding. So even if you lose, even if you lose 2 fights and if you had decent wins in the other 2, you've still got a chance of making the bracket.
Okay.
Whereas in the previous season, yeah, it was just a straight knockout.
Something I've noticed that I don't like about this robot design-wise is that they wrote the word mustard on the mustard. If you have to tell people what each bit is, maybe just design it better.
I mean, maybe.
You may continue.
I just like that they added sunglasses for Hypershock.
This guy reminds me of something. You know that Pokemon? Do I even have Pokemon Ghosted on my phone? No, I don't. I think it's like it's a little green one that has like a yellow stripe up its sword, I think.
Is he a new one?
No.
No clue what that even could be. Electrike.
Yeah,
I think I've heard of him. But...
reversed colours, basically.
Yeah, I can see that.
But he's just got like a little weird ass
Yeah,
head.
that's one of their self-writing arms. So they'll use that. They've redesigned it slightly. They used to. They had two independent forks that would sort of lift up to help with self-writing and stuff.
What are their wheels made of?
What, Hypershock?
Yeah.
They're just regular rubber wheels,
Rubber.
and they'll have like foam inserts and stuff.
Has anyone ever had a Stinger?
Well, no one uses pneumatic tires.
Pneumatic?
Where they're just like pumped up normally.
What are they then?
They'll have like, it's usually like pool noodle stuff they'll put in there, or foam of stuff, so where it's like solid enough and it keeps it going. Because if you don't pneumatic tires, you'd lose it. You'd lose them instantly, pretty much. Yeah, so the Hypershock fight, it was just a walkover. Basically, Hypershock absolutely ruined it. Shorter Panda, their little mini bot, came out with a little plastic rake stuck on the top of the robot. It's a Hypershock reference. So in season 2, there was an incident, what they called the Rakening, where Hypershock was fighting, I believe it was Warrior Clan, and they had a drone. And then so Hypershock came in with this rake attached to their self-writer, and with a beautiful shot managed to just twat it out of the sky, and it just got mullered. It was a beautiful shot. Shorter Panda got decimated in basically the first 10 seconds. There's a lovely shot where Hypershock just comes in and just splits it apart, basically. It just gets destroyed.
We stand a rake.
The Hypershock did try again in the season 4 fight. They fought huge, and they tried doing the twin rakes thing, and it just got eaten. It wasn't very successful. Yeah, I like Battle Royale cheese, and I wanted it to do really well, but it didn't really.
For a hot second there, I thought it had eyes, and I was about to take back everything good I had said about this robot.
Careful placing of lights, unfortunately.
Literally. No, it's fortunate. It's fortunate.
Why don't you like robots with eyes?
I don't like personifying things that you're sending out to kill. Right, it's my problem with Pokemon. Until I found out that Pokemon is it's like their version of exercise battling. So they're okay with it. They're not sent to kill. That's what's explained to me. But I just don't like personifying things like that. Like, you're killing things for fun, and you shouldn't make them sympathetic. Fair. Whereas Matilda is there to bring down the fucking law. Yeah. She is doing nothing but good.
This is true.
And therefore, she can be human.
She's allowed, is she?
Yeah.
Okay.
Same with I think pretty much with all the house bots. At least they're honest about what they are. They're just here to fuck shit up. Right? And I appreciate that they can be, I guess, humanized.
I mean, one of them is a dog. One of them is basically a master of his dog, essentially.
Which one's that?
Mr. Psycho and Growler.
No, I don't remember them.
Oh, they were series 6. Mr. Psycho.
Oh yes, that season. That one that I watched
so much
as a child in my youth. Carry forth.
Yeah, so Battle Royale cheese. They lost 2 fights. They weren't offered anymore. They didn't obviously make the top 16, and they didn't come back.
I'm so surprised.
And they didn't come back for season 4, unfortunately. But they're planning to return for season 5 if it ever happens.
Hold on. I'd just like to say something before you switch the images.
Mm-hmm.
They did so perfectly with the drone bot to make it a smooth bun with burger cheese. And then they fucked up with the parent. That's not a smooth bun. For a start.
It's individual plates, sort of just welded around it. You're not going to get one cast thing of that anyway. That would be a bitch to repair.
I'm not saying you want it all in one go. I'm just saying that you do it over the top with the same way you do that, you just put that on top of what you've got underneath.
Yeah, I could see that.
And they've already proven that they can do it with the drone bot. And also, their burger bun, their actual burger, their burger meat, too dark.
It's just well cooked.
It's a burnt burger.
It probably is a bit.
Also, there's no ketchup. There's only mustard.
Yeah, it does need ketchup, to be honest.
I've never seen people have mustard with bacon.
I imagine most.
That's an American thing.
I said that's almost definitely an American thing.
Okay.
Yeah, so they didn't make the top 16 in season 3. Didn't come back for season 4, but they're planning to come back for season 5, if and when it happens, with a machine called Gloom Weaver.
Okay, so these people had problem with talk before, yeah? And you want 6 legs.
6 legs with hydraulic pincers and grabbing arms.
That's going to go wow.
If this thing works, it'll be amazing. It's fucking brilliant.
There's no way that's going to work.
I really hope it does.
There's so much that can go wrong. If that lasts more than one fight, the amount of damage that's going to happen within the first fight, it's not going to be able to come back for the second.
Potentially, yeah. That's always the risk with walkers. There's so much engineering goes into it.
It's too risky. Like as a artistic piece, yeah, sure, but as a BattleBot, I don't know. I feel like you're asking for heartache there.
As I say, walkers are always going to be like that. There's that one, and there's a rubber called Chomp is coming back as a walker. And what we've seen of that, like the leg work on it looks immense. It's going to be beautiful. If it works, I'll be.
That's the thing. They'll look great, but there's so much that can go wrong so easily. They're like the amount of effort you're putting in to make it walk, whilst like engineering wise and artistically, like that's brilliant. Like it's really cool. I appreciate how hard it is to make things walk. Like, you remember, what was it, Emo? Not Emo?
Do you mean Asimo?
Asimo.
Emo.
Electric mobility. Like, he can't freaking walk.
He can walk. He can run upstairs. Well, he does now, but
he does now. But the first version where they tried to make him walk upstairs was actually horrendous.
The first version of anything's crap. No one gets it. That's a Honda of multi.
And you wouldn't send him into war.
No, not Asimo. He plays the violin. He's nice. He's small. We love him. Gloom Weaver on the other hand will wreck shit.
What about Nelly?
Nelly's fine.
But you'll send her into war.
Nelly was a defiant girl.
She lost her eyes.
She did lose her eyes, yeah.
I'm just saying, this is why you shouldn't personify robots.
Grow attached to it.
Yeah, like, you wouldn't send Asimo into war.
No, I wouldn't, because he's a small lad.
You wouldn't shit in a man's hat.
You wouldn't shit in a policeman's helmet.
And then give it to his grieving wife.
And then steal it again. So what's your thoughts on Battle Royale with Cheese as a whole?
They spent so long asking whether they could. They should have wondered more about whether they should.
It's a decent summation, I believe. So all this talk of humanoid robots and the fact that you're not a fan of them is quite apt.
I see the fucking file name.
So our second robot is from Robot Wars, called Donald Thump.
It's that flammable hair.
It's straw, yeah.
Have they actually taken the photoshopped eyes of Donald Trump?
Yes.
The lips are a bit too big.
Personification.
Personification? Do you know what that word means?
Yes, it means to make something human.
Yeah.
Was it over-exaggeration then?
I think they missed a trick here.
Mm.
They should have had it as a flamethrower. and said that all that was coming out was hot ass.
Jesus. Unfortunately, flamethrowers aren't allowed in Robots.
But you just said that the other guy was a flamethrower, the drone one.
That's from BattleBots. This is Robots.
Oh, that's such a great difference.
There is. There's a lot of difference.
I concur.
Yes. So Donald Thump debuted in Series 10 of Robots with one of the best looking teams. They're called Team Ballistics.
Oh, I remember that guy. He's not a very nice person, is he? He just seems very cocky.
He's cool. What's wrong with him?
Like the one episode that you showed to me, right? He just seemed very arrogant.
Well, for one, he's playing a character,
and the character that he's playing, I don't like.
That's kind of the point.
Well, then I'm allowed to not like him.
Him as a person's fine. There's a couple of interviews where he's done like pre-fight where he's just talking and just normally he's fine. I just like the make Robot Wars great again. A small part of me wants one.
You wear that hat, we break up.
Yeah, that's fair.
You're not good.
There's limits. I won't push.
I love haters hat.
That was bought out of necessity.
You defended it.
Yeah, but it was bought out of necessity.
But you defended it.
Yeah, I did do that. Yeah, so Donald Trump was in Series 10. They previously applied for... Donald Thump, sorry. Was previously applied for Series 8 and 9 with a robot called Terrible. Started out as the axe and also had a...
I don't mind that one.
It's cute, isn't it?
Not because of that, because it's called Terrible, and it is.
It's a bull.
And it's made of flammable, and they use paper eyes.
Yep.
Which I like. Eyes are bad, but if you're going to do it, just do it as stuck on paper, which I prefer. What's that meant to be?
That's the axe.
No, but like the fur coming off it.
I guess some sort of tail-ish. Is about the best way you're going to put it.
But when have you ever seen a bull's tail go over their head? I'm assuming that's what it does. It goes over the front and not round the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
See, that one's fine. I quite like that. Yeah. So in their first and only episode fight, they came in the Rumble against Sabertooth, so the drum spinner, which has been competing for years and has never won anything.
Then why is it still competing?
Because it's one of those teams where it's like
they have more money than sense.
Maybe, but they try. They really try. You can appreciate the effort.
Okay.
And the amount of times they've changed the design. That's the Series 10 version. They've been.
Is it still always a drum spinner?
It was a drum spinner in season 9 and maybe season 8 as well. But before that, it was a disco.
But why is it called Sabertooth? Because that to me would imply axe.
Well, it's a tooth drum. You have a tooth on the edge of your spinning wheel.
I wouldn't call that a tooth, but okay, carry on.
What else are you going to call it?
Protrusion.
Protrusion. Saber protrusion. Saber protrusion. That does really work.
Please continue.
And they also fought a robot called Behemoth.
Behemoth.
Craig Charles taught us for years it's Behemoth.
I don't know who Craig Charles is, and frankly I don't care.
He presented Robot War. He's also known Coronation Street.
Oh yes, those two things.
Those two programs you exclusively watch. Yeah, it is Behemoth, but
was he British made by any chance?
Yes. Yeah.
What a surprise.
This is again.
At least he's got painted nails.
He's got his tips done.
Exactly.
But yeah, Behemoth's been around for years. They've been in since season 2, I believe. They're about as long as Razor. They've been consistent. They've always had the scoop design as well. It's been effective.
I mean, that font was a choice.
What's wrong with
that? I don't like it.
No.
Particularly the M. And the hole in the O.
Yeah, it's a bit odd. That's their logo. It's the big fat B for it.
I don't mind. I do kind of mind the B. It's not straight. That's just me and my font discourse.
If it was in Comic Sans, would that be better?
At least Comic Sans is all on the same line. Surely.
True.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, so in their first and only fight, they came up against Sabertooth. But they had one of the eyes ripped straight off by Sabertooth on one of the early hits. They did manage to get a decent knock on Sabertooth, but most of the front damage came from Sabertooth and just being flipped around by Behemoth, and they were the first to be immobilized. It's a fairly effective bar spinner, to be honest, for the sort of size of it and like thickness of it.
She thick. With a double C.
Jesus.
Well, you said it.
Yeah. So they were the first to be immobilized in that fight. They went into the losers round, or the losers against the Swarm.
So are they all the same team?
Yeah. So
how is that allowed?
It's a multi-bot. You're allowed to do multi-bot entries, as long as it doesn't weigh more than the allowed weight. Yeah. So you've got Rubberbuck, Pinzer, Blender, Sky, and one called Sky Wedge, which is basically just Sky without the spinny thing. Thoughts?
So in Civilization 5,
Oh god.
you get what's called a theming bonus, which means that the artifacts that you have, or the works that you have in your museums and your what's the word? Opera houses, things like that, are of a similar type. So they can either be all from the same country, or civilization, or they can be from the same era. So you get a theming bonus because of that. So it increases your tourism output because of that. I am so offended by this theming,
or lack thereof,
that I feel like I am owed tourism by them.
It's not brilliantly consistent. This was
Pincer and Blender. Okay, I can get behind those two because they both end in ER and they are both a type of weapon.
On this one, they both end in A. Blender and Pinzer.
I take it back. I completely fucking hate them.
Yeah, well, this is so the Swarm comes.
But they didn't do that with Rubber.
What's Rubberduck? It's got.
They should have just called it Rubber with an A.
But then how are you going to do Sky with an A?
What does Sky do?
It's an annoyance bot, basically. Because the spinners is basically just trying to...
Skylar.
Yeah, could see that. Yeah, I could have got that work, actually.
So I solved their problem within 5 minutes, yeah?
Yeah.
Pay me.
Pay me what I owe. Yeah, so the Swarm comes from the team Bigger Brother. So they're very experienced in the classic series, and multi-bots is basically what they make now. So they've got, that was one of their first ones. They also had one called the Creepy Crawlies, which were they're all sort of basic versions of Pinzer, just in various colours, which also competed in China under.
That makes sense because they got a theming bonus there.
And they also had the 4 Horsemen in BattleBots, in which they could only enter 3 at a time.
That doesn't irritate me because the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse come one by one. Anyway, in the Bible, which I'm sure you've read.
Yeah, obviously. The original 4 Horsemen were decent, actually. So they had War, Famine, Pestilence, and Buttercup. Buttercup running as just an annoying wedge, and they were all basic versions of Blender. Then in season,
why didn't they just make them lighter?
What do you mean?
So you said that the only limit is the weight, combined weight.
Yeah.
Yeah. So why didn't they make them lighter so they could have all 4?
Who knows, really? It's maybe they just did a rough conversion from kilos to pounds or something, because like for the whole of season 3 they only ever ran, and were able to run with 3 of them, and then didn't change it. In season 4 they came with about 5 or 6 different robots, including versions of Sky and everything, but still could only enter 3. At this
point they're getting quantity over quality.
Is pretty much it, yeah. Okay. Like the multi-bots there's one called Gemini, both in Classic Royal and Modern BattleBots. And like 2 works because you can just go in from the side and there's still decent weights. When you get down to something like that, they're down to about like 30 kilos, and it's not going to do anything pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in the losers fight against the Swarm, Donald Trump had the front of it carved out basically by Blender and got the whole front of it ripped off essentially. It wasn't a very long fight. I think they got knocked out about halfway through it, and that was their only appearance basically.
Yeah.
They didn't only have the one episode, which is a shame because it was as a semi-decent spinner. It could have done pretty well, to be honest, but just didn't have the chance for him. So the guy who I should have looked at his name. I can't remember his name. The captain of Team Ballistics. He also competes outside the Royal Wars with other stuff. He runs a featherweight called Nigel Barrage.
The eyes are freaking me out, but it's fine. It's fine.
And yes, he does dress like Nigel Farage when he competes.
They're allowed alcohol.
He's probably apple juice or something, but maybe.
Okay.
I think
that's a very frothy apple juice.
It might be a pint, who knows? Yeah, he also made another heavyweight for live events and stuff called Teresa Mayhem.
Why is she blue?
There's a couple of versions. There's an initial version was brown, I think. I think it's blue because conservative.
Yeah, but I understand Donald Trump being like yellowy orange. That's fine. Nigel Farage also was only grey.
Grey bluish, but yeah.
Was he? He's not even Tory. He's UK.
Well, I guess that's what.
So it would have been purple, but
who knows? And then he's coming to the same Team Ballistics. They're coming to BattleBots in season 5 with Winston Churchill.
Oh, I like that one.
So thankfully, he's moved away from current politics.
We got a Rosie the Riveter with a rake instead of a rivet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rosie the Raker, we should call her.
Rosie the statistically? Rosie the historically inaccurate.
Yeah, and that's... Yeah, Winston Churchill looks pretty decent, actually. It's a slight development on the design. If it looks like the Cigar the Giant Spinner, it'll be amazing. I can't wait. The great thing is, so with the promo for season 5 and stuff.
Wait, so what are the arms doing? Are they like...
I imagine there'll be a self-writing thing.
Okay.
Because it can run upside...
What the frick is this?
Wheel guards.
Okay.
So the wheels are like sort of... It's a slightly different shell / chassis.
What's this for?
I'm not 100%. Don't quite... This is like
I understand that it's a vertical spinner. That
Yeah.
makes sense to me. I don't understand why you'd need... I could understand having a guard if it came all the way over here.
Yeah.
Because then you're guarding the machinery that holds it. But that's just an arch.
I can only imagine the hats, or what it sort of looks like, are like Donald Trump's hair. So they never fought with their hair on, because obviously it's going to catch in the spinner thing. So whether it's just that, then if it does go over, whether the arms are self-righted or whether it is an invert when it just runs along the edge of the thing, maybe. Yeah, it's the promo for the team for like competing in the season 5 is brilliant. So they were doing all sort of application videos, and I think James Davis one is one of the best ones, and I will show you what it sounds like.
And now on BBC Radio 1, the only radio station, your Prime Minister, Winston Churchill.
My fellow countrymen, I am talking to you today at a time of great peril for our nation. The relentless war machines have marched unceasingly across the Americas. For too long, the tyranny of Tombstone and Bright Force has gone unchallenged. However, they did not account for the sheer pluck and determination of the British people. We have produced such engineers as Reginald Mitchell, Alan Turing, and John from Beta. A great battle has raged in the BattleBots. Never, in the field of robot combat, have so many been destroyed by so few. But today, in this solemn hour, I can give you the good news that the battle will be over soon, for I have developed a new weapon in the fight against tyranny of Paul Ventimiglia. This weapon is called Winston Churchill, made of pure British steel, blood, oil, gears, and sweat. As we speak, our robots are being loaded onto ships destined for America. We will fight them on the beaches. We will fight them in the sea. We will fight them in the queue for lunch and in the arena. We will never surrender!
It makes you proud to be British, doesn't it?
Oh, I had no idea he was going to be so wide. What? Why did she not give me another angle?
Yeah,
what the fuck? Why is he so wide?
He's a big boy.
It's a vertical spinner. Why does it need to be so wide?
Traction, stability.
This is like that. Those pictures of pregnant women where they look fine from the front and then you like put them to the side and it's like bam.
Yeah, he's a wide boy.
What the fuck? Yeah. Okay.
So, what are your thoughts on Donald Thump as a whole?
I take back what I said about his maker because clearly he's just here to troll, and I respect that. Like, we get the grift, you know. I don't understand why he keeps replacing his teammates.
the original one when he committed horribles was his dad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It was just listed on the website as bodyguard, which I thought was pretty good.
I'm not mad at him.
Okay.
I ain't mad. Nigel Farage, whatever.
Nigel Barrage.
No, Nigel Barrage, bit more mad. Because I feel like they could have done more with it. Theresa May, I just don't know why you're blue. And that's it.
That's about it.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a pretty good place to end off with that.
What with Theresa May? I'm not sure why you're blue.
Politics, robots, it's all a dangerous mix-up, isn't it?
I mean, you titled the last one, when did the IRA actually end?
So that concludes episode 2 and the review of the 2 robots. It's been a decent episode. Thank you, Aisha. And we'll see you all again for the next episode. Please let us know in the comments down below what you think of the episode, or social media stuff will be in the description below. And we'll see you for the next episode. Bye-bye.